Hey there, how are you today? My name is Dana Demara, and you have landed on Astrocast. This is a special recording, won't be long, I promise, about the 7 planets in retrograde. Okay, I don't even know where to begin, so I'm going to start from the beginning. Every year, planets go into retrograde. Okay, now the sun and the moon will never retrograde, ever, not in our lifetime, as far as I know. But all the other planets will retrograde. Venus and Mars will only retrograde every like 18 months or so. Okay. But all the other planets retrograde at least once a year, which means I know we as humans focus all the time on Mercury. Everybody's like, oh my God, Mercury in retrograde. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. All the planets retrograde, guys, all of them. And it happens every year. And right now we have 7 planets in retrograde. Now, if you think about the planets, and we're not going to include the sun because the sun is a star, out of 9 planets, we have 7 in retrograde. 7. So that means energy is slowing down. Energy is like things are kind of pulling at us to pay attention, to pause, to rethink, to go internal. And retrograde gets huge backlash. But let's just shift perception for a minute, shall we? What if we could look at retrogrades as something powerful? What would happen then, right? So if you think about how fast we all move, and I'm just talking about our society here in America, okay? Let's just talk about that for just a second. We move so fast. I was even on my phone the other day doing something, and I was like, I am almost embarrassed at how fast I can click through and do stuff. I remember saying I would never text. I was like, I'm never going to text. It didn't work out so well. So we move really fast. And because we're moving into the Aquarian age, right, where things are speed of light, speed, things aren't going to slow down. So when the planet's retrograde, it's actually a beautiful opportunity to go inward. You want to know what planets are in retrograde right now? I'm going to tell you. I'm going to look at my notes. Mercury in Virgo, okay? Pluto in Capricorn, Saturn in Pisces, Neptune in Pisces, Chiron in Aries, Jupiter in Taurus, Uranus in Taurus. What? And if you look at your chart, if you have your divine blueprint, right? And then all those planets on the outside, the little green transits, the green planets, you have to look at like where those planets are and what they're pulling on. What house are they in? What planet are they making an aspect to? What are they nearby? Like, what is going on? That's how you're going to know where to focus your internal drishti, your internal gaze. So it's not the same for everybody. It's different. But what is the same for everybody is this is a time to be quiet. This is a time to go inward. This is a time to find a sense of alignment within yourself. This is a time to connect with your intuition. This is a time to really just slow down, find that sense of inner harmony, like what makes me feel connected, what makes me feel good. And then after these planets start coming out and moving direct, things will start to loosen a little bit. Okay. Breakthroughs can happen if you are willing to work with the retrograde energy. But if you fight it, if you're like, oh God, this retrograde, this is just kicking my ass. Okay, it will. And I have heard myself say that. So I'm not saying that it's not a good statement, but hear yourself say it and then go, okay, well, how is this retrograde affecting me? What is it trying to do for me in order to bring me back into alignment of what's next, what I can rebirth, what pattern I'm trying to let go of. Like, it just depends on your chart, but and your awareness of your internal gaze. Like, you have to know, what are my patterns? Where do I trip myself up? What do I do over and over again that I can't stand? What do I do over and over again that I love? This kind of stuff really helps to take that point in your chart or your life and go, I'm going to just go 2 degrees this way. Oh, wait, let me just go 1 back. Okay, now 3. Okay, 1 back. And that's life, right? I will say this, Mercury starts to move direct on the 15th of September, which is beautiful. But remember, it's like a standstill during the new moon, which is powerful. And it's at the 8 degrees. So at 8 degrees, infinity, abundance, love. I'm telling you right now, if you can do anything on this new moon, it's zip. Just be quiet with yourself. Do some breath work, do some moon gazing, do some journaling. 2 days before the new moon, 2 days after are the most powerful time. And because we have this Mercury transit, it's like, whoa, okay. The biggest thing you can do is find a sense of deep gratitude always, no matter where the planets are, and already act like whatever it is that you're intending is already happening, even though 7 planets are pulling at you. It's a lot. I know it's a lot. I know it's a lot. I know it's a lot. Trust me, I feel it. I feel it big time. And I sometimes laugh before I do one of these recordings because I know what's going on and I know where it's hitting my chart. And I'm like, of course, Dana, sit down. Dana, sit down. So know where this sits in your chart. Know that it happens every year. It's good to know a year in advance, like what could be happening in your astrology so that you can just write some important dates down. And then when things start to shift, you're like, oh, that's why. That's right. I remember this is coming up for me. Okay. Huge awakening right now. Huge awakening possible. Like, we're shifting systems. I don't know if you remember in 2020 when we had the great conjunction right around a full moon lunar eclipse. It's crazy. And then all of a sudden, 2 months later, just like, bam, everything shut down. Like, you're telling me that's not astrology. And that was a gift for us to go in. We're kind of, I don't want to say we're in the same sort of energy because it's not. It's a consequence. Like, everything's, I know this is the word, sutra in Sanskrit, right? Yoga sutras. It's a sutra. It's a thread. So we're following this thread of energy, of learning, of growing, of pausing. I just did a podcast, soulmedicine.live. I just did a podcast on the void, and I posted it last week on purpose because we're in the void. Do not rush the void. And you are hearing this from a person who is like totally recovering type A. I need to know what's next. I need to know. No, you don't. You just need to have optimistic outlook. You have to have a trust in the universe, and you have to know what parts of your chart are being affected so that you can just kind of go, okay, get it. All right. This isn't going to be forever. So if you want your chart read, reach out to me. It's on my website, danademara.com. If you don't necessarily want your chart read, but you want to learn a little bit, just go to myastrocast.com, put in your email. You get a bunch of little information sent to you. And then I'm sure you'll want your chart read. If you don't, I wish you all the best. And my goodness, have such a beautiful day. Namaste.